Good afternoon. Welcome to your favorite weekly current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My name is Egosa Agbonlaho. I apologize for starting the program behind schedule. Okay, on today's edition of the program, we'll be taking a look at some very crucial national issues. The incident that happened in Imo State 4 days ago, on Sunday precisely, and that's ex-governor of Imo State, Senator Rochas Okorocha, who actually had a heated argument with officials of Imo State government as they attempted to unseal the Palm Royal estate that's linked to his wife Nkechi, owned by his wife Nkechi. You will recall that the Imo State government actually made it very public that the judicial panel of inquiry that actually was saddled with the responsibility of looking at government property illegally acquired, misappropriated funds and all of that. And this particular estate was involved, and so it was freezed. And Senator Okorocha was angered and actually made an attempt with his supporters to unfreeze it or unseal it, you know. So we'll be looking at that. And in Edo State, just recently, the Edo State governor, Mr. Obaseki, made a public statement, and some people see it as a bomb, where he said the 30 billion stormwater project is a fraud, and a panel will be set up to actually unravel all that has to do with that stormwater project, monies appropriated for the project, and those found wanting. Of course, you know what will happen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me today very distinguished personalities. I have a former governorship candidate in Edo State, Bishop Akalame. Nice to have you on the program today.
Good afternoon.
I also have with us a very highly respected lecturer and social commentator, Dr. Stanley Edobo. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, before I allow my guest to comment on this issue, like I said, the topic is probe of ex-governors by incumbent governors. That's what we're looking at today. A new governor will say, oh, the previous governor misappropriated funds, and we set up a probe panel. We're looking at all of that. Case study, Rochas Okorocha, and the present Imo State governor, and of course, the former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, and the present governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki. Okay, now let's just start with the Imo case, the scenario that played out on Sunday in Imo. Now let's see how it all happened.
Illegally acquired and built up by the former governor's family is hereby recovered and sealed.
I'm the one. I tell Fred. You know. No, you know now. You know. Huh? Yeah, 53. You're 56. I'm 50.
Whatever you're doing.
I'm the one that can you. I can your way.
Let's stop that.
I can your way. I tell Fred. You know.
Let's stop that nonsense.
Which nonsense? Don't start doing
Who are you?
Who are you? Don't you know you're only the man? In 2001, I gave you one.
Tell me.
Okay, that was the fracas, that was the heated argument, and eventually Senator Rochas Okorocha was arrested. He actually made an attempt to unseal Spring Palm Estate linked to his wife Nkechi. Well, let my guests quickly comment on it. Let's start with Dr. Stanley Edobo. What's your take on what happened in Imo?
Thank you very much, Mr. Egosa Agbonlaho and Nigerians. You see, What I actually saw there between the Senator Rochas Okorocha and the government officials is a tussle of power that in Nigeria today, where everybody want to know, said, who, you don't know me, do you know me? We want to show our power, who we are, not actually minding that nobody is above the law. I think that is where he got it wrong. But with what we've just seen just few minutes ago, is that Rochas Okorocha feels that he is above the law, that he is untouchable. And that is what many politicians have at the back of their mind. That if they hold any political office, when they are in office, and even after they left office, they still feel that they are untouchable. They are above the law. They can do whatever they want to do. Even when the law is there, even while they are in the office, they know the law. They will go and contravene the law and say, because I am a former senator, because I am a former representative, house representative, governor, and even commissioners, they will say, do you know me? I am so and so, the former commissioner, the former governor. Are you above the law? The law is blind, for Christ's sake. If you go to all our judiciary, you see the status there. They blind the eye, they tie the eye of the person there, which shows that the implication of that, though I'm not a lawyer, the implication shows that the law is blind, does not know whether you are a governor, a former governor, you are a former senator, even a president senator. It doesn't know it. Once you go foul of the law will get hold of you, and you pay dearly for it. That is what I've just seen there, that he wants to show his supremacy, that one, I am a former governor of this state, so I still parade. That power is still arrogated to me as a former governor of the state, and now a present senator in the state. Because he's a serving senator of Imo West constituency. So he still arrogated that power to himself, that he's untouchable, that he can still lord over the Imo state, the entire Imo state, knowing fully well that he only has a senatorial district where he can lord over, not the entire state. Okay. And even if he's even lording over his senatorial district, he has to work within the ambit of the law. That is what I've just seen.
Okay, we'll come back to you. That's your opening remarks. A quick one, Bishop Akalame. I've just been told that my third guest, Dr. Mrs. Christy Ebume, is with us. We'll be introducing her shortly. But let's just get the opening remarks of a former governorship candidate in Edo State, Bishop Akalame.
Thank you very much, International. You see, most times when we look at issues in Nigeria, we lament as if there are no laws anymore. In this country, what I've seen over the years is as if the laws are made for the commoners. The laws are made for the poor. You see, the law does not affect the rich, does not affect the politicians. How will a service senator who understand, who know the laws, go to a seed property and he went there to unseal it? It is an aberration. It is uncanny, something that we should not even discuss. You see, in as far as I'm concerned, I want to equally send a strong message to the governor of Imo State, Uzodimma, that the arrest of that senator should not just end there. They should proceed to court. Because what the senator did in Imo State, to me, is something the governor have to curtail, so that to avoid its reoccurrence in the future. No, just look at it. If you want to exhibit some element of superiority in the state, not with the governor. In as far as I'm concerned, the governor is the #1 citizen in any state you go to. That if a foreigner today get into a state today, the first person he has to look for is the governor of the state, because he is #1 citizen. So if anything happens, the governor should be held responsible. As a senator, you are only responsible to a senatorial district. That means you are also responsible to the governor. That will tell you that you cannot take some certain decision without even consulting the governors. then let's lay the foundation to all this. What is happening? If actually what happened in the election, they are still carrying it as a personal vendetta to react in this dimension, it shows that we are not matured yet democratically. Because if I were to be in the shoe of Rochas Okorocha, what I will do is this. Fine, during the election, I projected a candidate who did not succeed to become the governor of the state. Now, Uzodimma came and become the governor. Then it should not remain my permanent enemy, because in the politics, no permanent friends, no permanent what? Enemies. Now, the man is there. What will you do? You go back to him. You see, I have never been your enemy. You know it was interest. I needed my own to become the governor. As long as you are not the governor of the state, come on, I will give you all the necessary support that you want from me. And I can tell you that the governor of Imo State is a rational human being. Even though there are other things, other political witch hunt that is even going on towards Okorocha because of what has happened in the past during the election. And I can tell you that he will say, oh, let me see how I can come down to extend my hand of friendship to the senator. But no, then you want to wrestle your muzzle. You want to wrestle with the governor. It should not end there. They should take him to court. Let him go and tell the court why he disobeyed the law. It's something we have to make sure that if we don't do it in Imo State, if we don't handle it in Imo State, I can tell you, this thing you are seeing will begin to creep into other states in Nigeria. What always happen?
Okay, Bishop, we'll come back to you. We're actually looking at proof of ex-governors by incumbent governors. And we'll just take a break now. And when we come back, we'll continue with this topic. It's always a delight to have you back on the program. It is 60 Minutes Nigeria, and on this week's edition of the program, we're actually looking at probe of ex-governors by incumbent governors. Just joining us is Dr. Christy Ebome. Nice to have you on set today. Yes, we started with the issue of Imo State, and we are glad that you are from Imo State, and you know the scenario very well. You know the Spring Palm Estate very well. You know where it's situated, and you know the goings on in Imo State, and of course, between the incumbent governor and the ex-governor Rochas Okorocha. Rochas actually attempted to unseal that estate, and he was arrested. And those who went with him actually were charged to court and granted bail. Now, what's your take on what transpired that day?
Thank you for having me here.
Okay.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes.
It's a coincidental invitation.
Okay.
When you talk about proof, I don't think it's a do or die affair.
Okay.
Because something has really gone wrong. And when something goes wrong, it has to be fixed. After investigation, I mean thorough investigation.
Okay.
Most especially by the incumbent governor, as per the ex-governor. When the ex-governor Rochas Okorocha actually tried the way we analyzed initially, in his first tenure, but towards the second tenure, it became a different scenario. That idea of calling my people, you know, became stylish, that people don't really understand. So going straight to what you asked me, he needs to be proved. Having I heard from my colleagues,
yes,
where you did not do good in governance,
yes,
you are punishing the people. And the people are there. It's not one-man journey.
Okay.
And it's not one-man show.
Okay.
The people that will talk are the people you are governing. And by the time they see everything and keep quiet does not mean they are weak. It will come out one day as it has erupted. The probe must continue. The only area I have a little concern about the
incident.
The incident
yes.
Is that I wouldn't, from my own opinion, want a rush issue, because there is an event that took place that has not been straightened. And through this investigation must be straightened.
Okay.
And if it has to be straightened, it must have to be investigated thoroughly, lawfully, judiciary-wise.
Okay.
ethically,
okay,
and otherwise, and the probe will come out fine, so that at the end of the day, we know what we're pursuing. So that let it not be like other governors from other states. You know, at the end of the day, it's like what we're discussing here. You don't know what will become the outcome. After the discussion, everything goes back, and you don't know what has preempted.
Okay, let me interject before you continue. Now, what Senator Rochas Okorocha did by attempting to unseal what has been sealed by government. Now, don't you think Okorocha has the right, because a judicial panel was set up, but it is not court. It was not sent from the court. There was no paper from the court to him that his property or the property linked to his wife Nkechi has been taken over by government. So don't you think until you take an issue to the court, Okorocha may still be thinking that, oh, he has not been properly briefed? Don't you think so?
Yes, that's why judiciary method has to be applied.
Okay.
And the law, like my colleague said, has to also be followed.
No.
Because when the law is followed, I don't think he will be bragging, I don't think he will be showing up, I don't think he will be popping up, because sealing up the place means that it belongs to the government.
Yeah.
The place was built with the government money, and the people are not happy. But if Uzodimma, one way or the other, now finds out that these things have to be proved, it needs to be proved, and the truth has to be unraveled.
Yeah.
So instead of carpeting everything as if nobody knew or nobody knows, now it's coming out in the limelight that people have to put in their mouth. So it needs to be proved.
Okay, thank you. We'll come back to you. Dr. Stanley Edobo, now taking it further, you have actually said, you've made your opening remarks, but are you also looking at Okorocha's angle? You know, don't you think the court plays a pivotal role when it comes to issues like this? Yeah, the government sets us a probe panel, but you just say freeze or taking over? What about the courts? Are you looking at it from that angle?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes, if you freeze a property, means the property does not belong to the rightful owner. Means the property belongs to other person. Now, in this case, the government has freezed the property. It shows that the property was erected in government land. They've done all their investigation and everything. Now, because of what Okorocha has done, because there is the popular adage which says that two wrongs cannot make a right.
Okay.
That is where I fought him.
Okay.
If they freeze your property, now Okorocha property has been frozen, and he was not served any notice of the property being frozen or seized by the government. I think the onus lies on him as a man, a custodian of the law, who represents the people of Imo West constituency in the Senate, who knows the law, that now the government has heard. It is not done on him for him to go to the court and challenge him. Now he should meet his lawyer. The lawyer will advise him. Now my property has been frozen without a notice to me. They did not even invite me. I didn't hear anything from them. Now the lawyer will now advise and put up a letter. Let's go to the court and argue it out. But he didn't do any of these things. That is where I fought him. Because you cannot take the laws into your hand, no matter who you are. I've said it. He's only trying to show that, yes, as a former governor, I still have all my power and everything allocated to me. That is where he missed it. Go to the court. The court is there to decide. Thank God we have all the juries there, who will now tell him, Now, the government err or the government did not err. If the government has erred, they will tell the government to unfrozen it.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. We'll come back to you. We'll just take a brief break now, and that will enable us to take wonderful headlines on this wonderful station. Okay, nobody's above the law. Rochas Okorocha is not above the law, and so it must be civil. Well, we have a politician with us, so he must tell us the nature of politicians. Well, do you think there's undertone in what is happening in Imo, Bishop?
Of course, I told you before initially when I started,
yes,
that there is a kind of political undertone in all of this. There is personal vendetta already.
Do you know why I asked you that question?
Yeah.
Now, yes, if there is any crisis, political, they belong to the same party.
Yes.
They are in the same party. If they have any pre-election issues or whatever. But does that make Okorocha free or his wife free if actually they illegally acquired property?
You see, it is the system in Nigeria,
yeah,
that once you are in a good book of a politician, most times they don't see anything that you have done that is wrong, that anything wrong that you have done that is bad at all. They don't look at that. They may give you that that privilege that other people may not even enjoy. That is the system.
yeah.
Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that if at all there are issues, they are in the same party. You projected your in-law to succeed you, but it didn't turn out that way. Yes, it didn't turn out that way. Now, Uzodimma, now emerged as the governor of the state in the same party. You cannot begin to carry that.
But the incumbent governor of Imo State visited President Muhammadu Buhari and actually granted a press interview,
yes,
where he made it clear that there was no problem with Rochas Okorocha.
Yes.
That it was actually Hedioha, the former governor, was actually sacked. That started the probe.
yes.
So he just inherited that. In the interest of Igbo people.
Yes. It's because of the crisis, the pre-election crisis, the issues that happened during the election, that people have to, the public opinion have to say, oh, it is because of what has transpired before the election that made the governor to have said, oh, I want to probe Rochas Okorocha. You know, there is a Latin man who says, quick plato solo said it. What that means that the government own a land, that he that own a land owned all the resources in it. So if you build on a land that belongs to the government illegally, automatically that which you have built on that land belongs to the government. So in as much as the governor of Imo State is concerned, he has the right to say, oh, this property is sealed. Now, you have to, what you need to do is that when that happens is that you approach the court, talk to your lawyer, approach the court. When you do it the other way, you do it all by yourself, that means you are taking the laws into your hands.
That's what they call self-help.
Yes, that is what he has done. And when you do this, then people begin to see you as somebody who is not serious. They will think, you understand the law and you are behaving like this. If actually the governor have not communicated to you that your property has been sealed, and you only see that it's happening that way, you will not communicate it. What will you do? Will you go there and stand there doing the other way around? You talk to your lawyer. You approach the court. They do the needful.
Okay.
Do it rightly. So when you do all this, then the court have the right, have the power to interpret the law as regard to the decision taken by the governor.
We'll come back to you, Bishop Akalame. Dr. Christie, now, still on this Imo issue, what do you think is the way forward?
The only way forward is that courts, the judiciary has to come into the matter. Because if they don't, this issue will continue. Not minding that these people are two brothers. They hail from the same, almost the same local government and whatever. You know, the way the whole thing is being diced is not properly handled.
Okay.
So my own opinion, the judiciary have to take its course, investigate properly, probe well, and sue whomever person that is actually involved.
Okay.
Like Rochas himself In fact, when he became the governor of the place, I don't think you need to go to where this issue is being described.
Yes.
It's like circumventing the whole place by the Mori River. And the people are saying you are not supposed to have reacted the way you did. Your own is to mellow down as a governor, to channel your course well, and even going back to go and say, what is all this about?
Okay.
But he did not do all that.
Yes.
So the court should take, judiciary should take its own course.
Okay.
Concerning the matter.
Okay, we'll come back to you, but I must say that when you mentioned the word just now, my people, that's Rochas Okorocha. He actually won the minds of Nigerians with that,
Yes.
my
Most
people,
especially in
my
State.
people. So when politicians speak, I know Bishop Akalova also has his own way of slogan. My people, that's Rochas Okorocha. But let's dovetail now to Edo State, and I must tell you, I refer to the public statement by the incumbent governor of Edo State, His Excellency Mr. Obaseki. He actually went to inspect the stormwater project, some drains, and he made a public statement. It has become a bomb. He said, 30 billion stormwater project is a fraud. Well, I'm not the one that said it. Let's just hear what the governor said so we can take it up from there.
I don't like probing, but we must get to the facts of what happened. We can't throw away such large amounts of money. People must be made to account for their time of service in government. The so-called stormwater was just a fraud. It was a contract to defraud Edo people.
That's Mr. Godwin Obaseki. Very powerful statement. We'll start with Dr. Stanley Edobo. Now, are you proud of your governor that he wants to probe the 30 billion water storm project or stormwater project? Do you think he's right?
Well, I think he is right. I think he is not right. It's a dual statement.
Okay. So how do you mean?
That I want to interpret.
Okay, please go on.
One, why I said he is right, that Mr. Governor is right to probe. Because this is the taxpayers' money. It is my money. It is your money. It is every one of us here sitting down. We all pay our tax. Even the women in the market, they pay tax. So, for the money that I pay, my own hard salary, and the government have paid my tax to the government, and the government now is using it. Somebody is in the helm of affairs as a governor, just use the money that for water storm, which never see the light of the day. 30 billion. I think it's not a small money. So wherever the money has gone, we should fetch it out. So that is why I said he is right for him to probe. But he should remember that in the past administration of Comrade Adam Oshomole, he is the head of the economic team. And before any before any project is being executed, the head of the economic team or the economic team must look at the viability of the project. If you are not turning around, like what they will say in Man Around Town, I quote Baosayuwa, that like Agbegi where they turn around for Okada Junction, to Ketika where they turn around for New Benin by Total Filling Station, that you are not turning around just because there is some issues between you and the past governor. The first 4 years, what happened to it? Were you not a governor in this state? Did you not see the water storm? That is this. Now you are not seeing it for the very first time. And so that is why I said the second part of it is wrong. The time of probing, what has happened to the probe that of Edo Specialist Hospital? Where is the result? During the election, they set up the judiciary panel to look at it. They submitted their report. Where is the report today? We Nigerians or the governors or those in power, we know how to probe, but do we actually execute it? No. I believe this probing of a thing in Nigeria today is just a witch hunting. Like what The bishop has said, if two of us are in the same party, and you are in a good mood, no matter whatsoever you are going to do whether good or wrong, especially when it is wrong, I don't see anything wrong in it. Even when they are telling me, I will say nothing. Hey boy, or you not come, you are doing the right thing. But the moment you fall apart, I will say, nail him to the cross. Go and bring the fire. We all know, even how Obasanjo was doing it then. Those that offended him, ask EFCC, go and bring the fire of Mr. ABC. Check where did it go wrong. Or EFCC pursue. You see people running heads together because they are not dancing in their record. That was what happened at Ondo last election. Before the election, when the governor Akeredolu and his deputy, when they fall apart, it was then we know that the deputy was the highest paid deputy governor in Nigeria. But when they were together, did we see anything? Did we hear? No. Now, before now, did we hear anything of the probe of the state that is a fraud? Yeah, you know the economic advisor. Did you know advising that yes, it is good that we should go into this project?
He may not have advised him. He may not even be aware of the intricacies of the project. Probably now, he has inspected the project now, and he now says, oh no, 30 billion for this kind of work, this project needs to be proved.
Well, I think...
Well, you made your point. Yeah, you said the governor is right for wanting to probe, and the governor is also wrong. You made two statements.
Yes, that's it.
You said the governor is right for wanting to probe, and you also made the other side. But let's get the thought of Bishop Akaleme. You are a politician. You know the goings on in the minds of politicians. We don't really understand these politicians, really. But what matters is the development of Edo State, the development of this country. Mr. Godwin Obaseki represents the entire Edo State. He needs to take Edo State to higher heights. And he has inspected the project and is disappointed and made that statement. Don't you think Mr. Godwin Obaseki is on course? Don't you think he has said the right thing in the interest of Edo people?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's develop a background for this conversation. You see, some people do not understand the term probe. So anytime a governor makes use of the word probe, they see it in another, they look at it in another dimension. As an accounting scholar, I can tell you that in every business organization, at the end of the accounting period, there's need for an external auditor to come and look into the books of the organization and ensure that those books were kept according to the standard of accounting, to ensure that there was no fraud committed during that accounting period. You see, they will do it, at the end of the day, everybody will be happy. In the government, if you look at projects, a project is initiated and executed. Whether we have seen it with our optical eyes in existence, there is still need to probe. If you look at the dictionary meaning of probe means to examine, to look into, to find out, to get information about what has happened. So, for the governor to have said, I will probe into the 30 billion water storm master plan in Edo State is not out of place. And for me, I can say I'm on the same page with the governor to probe. Do you know what? I am not speaking for an individual. I am speaking for every Edolite whose money are involved in all of this. Let me tell you something. If the governor wants to probe, the only thing I will say to him is that he should make this probe public. We want to know what happened to the 30 billion naira. 30 billion is not 30,000. It's not even 30 million. 30 billion naira. You see what is happening in the state today? You know, everybody is happy now. Your news is okay now. What do you start now? You know the kind of news people bring out. You saw flood everywhere, people running away from their houses in Edo State. This was what Adams Ali Oshomole saw in Edo State. The reason why he initiated the stormwater project to ensure that the flooding menace in Edo State is curbed. But what has happened? That That project never seen the light of the day. What happened? We have two ministries that supervised that project. We have the Ministry of Environment and Public Utilities, and we have the Ministry of Works. A lot of people have questions to answer. If you look at it very well, in that public utility, Prince Clem Agba in Canada, Agba was the commissioner of the Environment and Public Utility during that period. And I can tell you that in 2 of these ministries, 5 commissioners are sat. Even the current SSG today in Edo State, the barrister Oge, was also a commissioner of works during Adams Ayu Oshomole. So about the five commissioners who serve under these 2 ministries, you have questions. We have to make it open, because the idea of people running government as their personal entity, the idea of people running government as their personal business, we have to bid farewell to it, because the people welfare is the reason why we give room to governance. Yeah. So if this is to be defeated, then what is the need for government? Don't forget, if you are a governor, the people give you the mandate to represent them, to deliver to them the good dividend of democracy. Today in Edo State, a lot of landlords have been rendered tenants. They ran away from their properties. They cannot access their property because of the flood in Edo State. So what happened? What triggered this? If you follow what happened, what triggered this? The former commissioner for Environment and Public Utility, Prince Clem Ikanede Agba, was in Benin last Thursday to pay a visit to our royal father. On that course call, he made an appeal to our royal father. Please appeal to the state government to continue the stormwater project in Edo State. Now the governor have heard. So if I must continue what you have started, there's need for me to know what has happened. It's not wrong. Then if somebody said that the governor was part of the past administration, there's nothing wrong. But let me tell you something. There's no way you can dictate for your boss. Even when you know that what my boss is doing is wrong, there's no way. Your boss may not even take what you are giving to him, because he wants to tell you, I am superior. He wants to tell you that is why I am your boss. If you have good intention of recommending to your boss, you'll be scared because you will not like to lose your job.
Okay, thank you, Bishop. We'll come back to you. Let's get the thoughts of Dr. Mrs. Christy Ebume. Now, you are in Edo State. You see what is going on, the flood menace, and now the stormwater project. The governor has assured the people of Edo State that the 30 billion stormwater project will be probed. What's your take?
We're still talking about this probe and probe. Like I said before, probe is a normal thing. And before you probe a situation, something must have gone wrong, or did not even go wrong, or has to be straightened. After investigation, you know, things have to be paired together to suit the people you are governing. If the governor of Edo State, Governor Baseki, from what he has been saying since this week, that the 30 billion stormwater project has to be proved, we allow him to prove it. He will probe, but as a governor, I think he's not even afraid, because he knew quite well that it was also in this regime when it was on. Having said that, the governor is even, let me look at it, that he is self-confident. If Edo people comes out to say, Governor, like what I heard last night through the news, that you're also there, and what have you done? How can you probe and probe yourself? The governor have every right to probe what he has said that is not been measuring up with expectation, because he was there then and he saw the level of expenses, you know, that was released and pumped into this water project that did not, in fact, it became an eyesore. No governor will ever believe that this 30 billion stormwater project ever existed. But before we have to decline concerning the question. The governor have every right to probe. He can still probe himself. The Ministry of Works then, the man then can probe himself. Clement Abba, when it's called, he has to be probed. To probe does not mean it's a jail sentence. Come and give account of what has gone wrong with what you say you did, that people see that is no longer functioning or is working for them as citizens. You come and talk to us. And after probing, I think the judiciary have its own arm inside the probe. If they are going to continue the probe by summoning people, by asking them questions, or taking them to court or whatever, and continue from there. But the main thing is that at the end of the day, let them tell the people they are governing the outcome and the end of all these probes. The problem is not the issue, the outcome, the end of it, so that the people they are governing will not have the mind that actually what we are expecting from the government is what we are seeing.
Thank you very much, Madam. I can see that the issue has been cleared. But let's get the thought of the closing remarks of Dr. Stanley Edubo. Now, in your opinion, in your closing remarks, is it really appropriate for incumbent governors to always probe their predecessors?
Yes, it is appropriate, so that for the entire people in a state, for the entire state should know, it will serve as for the incumbent governor to probe the past government. It is appropriate because it shows sign of how do I put it? Accountability for people, so that when you are there, you know that when you leave, they will equally what? Probe. So you do your, he that must go to what? Equity must go with a clean hand.
Thank
so
you.
You go there, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, you've summed it up already. Your closing remarks, Bishop Akalame.
The leaders are not accountable to the people.
Yes.
They run the government as if the government belongs to them, their wife, and their children. So because of that, after you must have done your 4 or 8 years, if the one that will take over your seat does not like your face, then there's need for him to probe you. That is the system in Nigeria. But is there anything wrong in probing? But there's nothing wrong in probing. If we are supposed to be accountable to the people, if you are doing a project, you are supposed to make available information to the people. How much the project will take? Now you have executed it. How much the project took, the balance. That is called accountability, openness. But if that is not there, the last result, just like the workers, after negotiating with their boss, please increase our salary, say no, they go on strike. So after all this, after we refuse to be accountable to the people, the last result is to probe. So since you refuse to tell us what has happened, let us make you, force this information out of you.
Okay, thank you very much. I must thank my guests, Dr. Mrs. Christy Ebume, thank you very much. Dr. Stanley Edubo, your contribution has been very wonderful. Thank you. Bishop Akalame, thanks for your comments. And my viewer out there, I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My name is Ego Sagbolao. By God's grace, next week, we'll have another topic to dissect. Bye-bye.
Thank you.